Right, want to show you another little fun thing that I've got here. So I won this on a Twitter contest that SEEED Studio was holding. This guy is an ESP32C3 microcontroller, Arduino compatible, and it is bloody tiny. There's a Lego 2x2 brick for comparison purposes. I love it. I love it because it's tiny, it's fast, and it has just enough features for most projects. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that using a couple examples here. So again, they have 5 different flavors of this thing. It's called a XIAO, whatever. I don't know how you actually pronounce it. I think it's XIAO. Anyway, they have 5 flavors of it. This is, again, the ESP32C3 version, but they have an NRF version, a SEMD version. That's this guy here. So they have 5 different flavors depending on you know, sort of some of your needs and whatnot. For me, I'm looking for something fast to boot, Wi-Fi capable when I need it. And that's what this guy is, and it actually meets that need quite well. What I'm showing you here is a demo, and I will pop up on my screen as well, outputs from each of these 2 units. What I've got here set up is, this is based on a project that I did previously for my Mazda Miata. It's a rear LED strip that you know, comes on when the car comes on and does some funky sequences, and then goes into driving or running light mode like you see here. And I use a controller in the front console of the car with a screen where I can change the modes and initiate changes in those modes, and then the slave, which is, you know, this guy, looks like this, in the trunk of the car hooked up to the LED strip. In terms of how these are talking, they're using ESP-NOW's, Espresso's ESP-NOW protocol, which is a Wi-Fi protocol, kind of like, you know, the Zigbee protocol, but basically the idea is that it establishes a secure connection wirelessly between 2 microcontrollers, 2 Espresso microcontrollers. It's not over your home Wi-Fi network. You don't have to establish a connection to SSID or anything like that. It's just a MAC address connection between 2 pieces of hardware that's secure, and it works really well. I've used it a fair bit in projects. So I'm doing that between these 2. Again, I'll pop up on the screen here an output from each of the microcontrollers, serial outputs, just to show them talking. And you can see that right now that they're both talking, essentially exchanging status updates to each other, you know, as they move on. So this is very simple. It doesn't have all the components of the original project, but I've just got a push button here. The idea is that push button is what I use to initiate, either show the sequence or change the sequence. So I'll do a quick demo of that, showing it, demonstrating the actual sequence. So push and hold, you'll see that change in the above, and then you'll see the sequence kick in and then flip back to running light mode. Again, not that this counts for this video, but just clicking this button once just changes the mode. You can see that again on the left part of the screen there in the serial output. And then if I hold it, it'll kick in that mode and then display the mode. But anyway, back to the XIAO. As I was saying, here's a quick little demo I wanted to do to show the SEEED XIAO ESP32C3 from a boot speed perspective. So now something to note, I'm using other device right now, another microcontroller in my high center brake light project. I'll post a link to that up here or down there, either or, so you can see what I'm talking about. Basically, this is for your rear center brake light on cars. You know, you apply the brakes, that brake light just comes on. Modern cars these days use LEDs. This sort of takes it a step further and gives you the option to have sort of different modes. But the idea is that, you know, when you apply the brakes, you need to have something come on right away. So you need immediate activity or immediate reaction, right? So I have found, you know, I've got a number of microcontrollers that I've been playing with from my inventory. I got a whack. I think I have every possible microcontroller you can have that's Arduino compatible. But you'd be amazed by how many of them actually don't, you know, their boot system, you know, does take some time to actually, you know, enable GPIO pins and enable activity. But I found a few. Obviously, the current one I'm using is an Arduino, you know, clone, a Pro Mini in this case. I'm pretty sure most of the other nanos and whatnot work. And I've also found, I don't know if I have it here, but an ESP-8266 unit and an 8255 unit that work, but the rest of them actually take too long to boot. Even like, you know, a Node MCU or an ESP32, which is way overkill for what I'm doing. You know, and that's also another point of looking for something low cost and simple and small. Those were sort of my priorities to try to minimize the footprint that it has. But this guy also works really well. So, you know, also something to keep in mind, you know, you're probably saying, well, this is not using any Wi-Fi capabilities, right? It's got the Wi-Fi antenna currently installed right now, but it for this particular project, it doesn't need that. It's just literally acting as a microcontroller. You could probably get away, I know, using something even, you know, even from the standpoint of a transistor. But the point is that this particular project has multiple selectable modes, so you do need some controlling function to change modes, save it to EEPROM, and then, you know, when the brakes are applied, to enable whatever that mode is, right? And again, don't worry about legalities of this. Most people are just using it as a brake light with a bit of extra, and I'll show you that in a second. So anyway, long story short, the idea is fast boot, right to, you know, doing, enabling the function on the GPIO pin and getting the LED to come on, so that when you put your foot on the brakes and your, you know, your two brake lights come on, this thing comes on and does its thing too at the same time. And you've probably seen projects where people have sort of the flashing feature. Well, this could do all of that. Obviously, you can do anything you want with a microcontroller, and a what this is an addressable LED strip. You know, this particular one has 66 LEDs, and you can have each one have any color you want. Anyway, I wanted to show you really quick, and I'll try to get you an idea of timing here. I've got this USB remote power unit, and, you know, the idea is that, you know, when I slide it in here to engage the power, you'll see that the LEDs come on immediately, and I'll do that really quickly now. So it has two sweeps that you do, but you can see the initial sweep comes on, you know, pretty much instantaneously. So again, I'll try to show that. We're talking, you know, milliseconds here, right? Now, so milliseconds to enable, you know, into the system. So the idea is when you put the brakes on, you can be confident that the microcontroller is going to do its thing. You can also see, if you can look closely at my controller, the little red LED to the bottom left there comes on, and it's, you know, instantaneous at the same time that these LEDs are coming on. So again, really like that feature of this microcontroller. You know, it's, and I think another thing to mention is, you know, probably most of you are thinking, my God, why would you don't need an ESP32, you don't need Wi-Fi capability for this. Yeah, you're right. But for $5 US, to have a microcontroller that's got, you know, onboard programming capabilities by USB-C, you know, a boot button, a little LED, you can't go wrong. I mean, I don't think you can find many other microcontrollers that powerful, that small, and also, you know, with the idea of booting fast for that price. So to me, it's a why not? It's easily a go-to, and it's got, you know, enough GPIO pins. I haven't tested this yet, but I'm pretty sure I could drive an SPI IPS display with this as well, which I have other projects where I do that too. So it has, you know, a lot of ability for what it is. Very nice little one, and I've also got a SAMD version of it here that I might actually do a little giveaway on. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, thanks for watching.